Good day, everyone. Today we'll be taking a look at Raiden Shogun, how she sort of fares as a sub-DPS for, say, Vaporize HuTao, as they clear the first half of floor 12 of the Spiral Abyss, a few rotations so that you could try to optimize her damage, depending on your needs, while also addressing what I personally think are Raiden's issues. Now for her issues, there isn't any one thing about her that is bad. Take her damage, for example. Ayaka can deal the same or more damage as Raiden's entire burst by simply throwing out her ultimate, turning around, and then facing the screen. So Raiden does not deal the damage of pure damage characters, which kind of makes sense, as she performs other roles as well. She gives a slight damage bonus to characters' ultimates, and she is a battery. So it wouldn't really make sense for her to deal as much damage as characters that only deal damage. So the damage that she deals with full resolve stacks, I don't feel is by itself her issue. Then we can look at her damage bonus from her E to characters' bursts. It's nice, but once again, it isn't amazing. You can easily find many characters in the game who will increase other characters' damage by significantly more. Then there's her ability to act as a battery. And at this role, she's good, but not great. And by good and not great, what I mean is that for characters with, say, 60 cost ultimates, they generally aren't able to get their ultimates off by themselves off cooldown. So for example with HuTao, without another, say, Pyro character, she's really only able to use her ultimate every other rotation. Raiden, however, can make it so that she can use her ultimate every rotation, which is a nice little DPS increase. However, the characters with 60 cost ultimates, like HuTao, generally speaking don't revolve around their ultimate. If they have their ultimate up more often, it's nice, but isn't entirely necessary. Just as a quick aside here, I found this rather interesting, so apparently I somehow managed to knock the Thunderhide out of actually casting its aura, which is not something which I'd seen before. But continuing, the characters with 80 cost ultimates, however, tend to revolve more around their ultimate, and so are more in needing of a battery. However, Raiden cannot provide enough energy for these 80 cost characters to go pure damage. You will still need to invest decently into some form of energy recharge. After the Abyss runs are over, I'll show this off by simply taking this same group to go fight the Magu Kenki, and you can see even with Diona also using a Favonius weapon, and was in Cho with about 127% energy recharge, so doesn't have none at all, still needs quite a bit more energy to be able to get to his ultimate. Now once again, this might not seem that bad, because even if you can't go full damage with them, at least you can go more damage with them, right? But the issue I noticed was that looking at my Zincho, in order to have his ultimate up off cooldown, with having Diona with a Favonius weapon in the party, all else that I really need to do is give him the sacrificial weapon, and I can pretty much keep his ultimate up off cooldown to allow HuTao to vaporize all of her attacks each rotation. And so, really the only way in which I can get more damage out of Zincho would be to change his weapon, but I still need a decent amount of energy recharge over simply using a damage weapon. And unfortunately, there just really isn't much in the way of weapons in the game that give energy, but also give damage. Pretty much the only weapon that could possibly work here would be the Skyward Blade, but that is a 5-star weapon, and one that I do not have. And other characters are probably going to have something similar. If, for example, you were using the Favonius Lance with Zhengling to be able to keep her ultimate up, you're probably going to have a hard time finding a way to actually give her a damage increase, but yet still be able to use her ultimate off cooldown. And so in my Vaporize HuTao group here, I end up having to just stick with the exact same thing as Zincho was doing before, even though Raiden is providing more energy than if I were using somebody else. So really, in this group, the only character that her energy benefits is HuTao, and that she can use her ultimate every rotation instead of every other rotation, instead of also allowing Zincho to deal significantly more damage by trading energy for damage. So I think the issue for 80 cost characters is that Raiden won't actually provide enough energy for you to change their build in such a way that they will actually obtain a significant damage increase. You will probably still have to use, say, a character of the same element, or just use your energy recharge weapon. However, in order for Raiden to do her decent damage, she has to be at max resolve stacks. And to be at max, or at least somewhere close to max resolve stacks, you pretty much have to use a team full of 80 cost characters. And this, I think, is where her issues really lie. She doesn't provide enough energy for 80 cost characters to go full damage, and so in many cases won't actually provide basically any damage increase to them at all if you have to just essentially keep them as they were, she has to be paired with 80 cost characters in order for her to get her resolve stacks, in order to even do her decent amount of damage. And then on top of this, there are very few 80 cost characters in the game, and some of which their ultimate really doesn't do much of any damage at all, and so don't benefit from her E. For example, Razor or Yanfei. And so this, for me, I think is really kind of the real issues with Raiden. She doesn't do any one thing particularly good, unlike, say, Venti, who is amazing at gathering, or Zhongli, who provides a massive shield while also providing extremely easy resistance shred, while also causing enemies to be unable to do anything for about 4 seconds. She just does decent damage while providing decent energy, while having a very constricted list of characters that both benefit from her and that she needs in order to deal her decent damage. And so, while this is the case, if more weapons come out along the lines of the catch, which gives energy recharge but also a damage increase, as hopefully more high-cost burst characters come out that Raiden will work well with, get introduced into the game, hopefully Raiden will have a better spot. But at the moment, for the vast majority of teams, because she doesn't do anything that particularly seems to stand out, you could probably find another unit that either would do just as well or even better in her spot. Now, getting into rotations, you do have to start by looking at what exactly it is that you need. For example, if you're running something along the lines of Raiden, Xingqiu, Zhengling, and Bennett, and so don't really need to be using stamina on other characters, then you can simply use the 3 sets of 3 normal hits into a charge attack, followed by a final charge attack, as this is going to be one of the highest damage rotations you can get out of her, at the cost of a significant amount of stamina. But if you're not using the stamina for other characters, then this is fine. However, if you're going to use as a sub-DPS, especially to a character that does use their stamina to deal damage, such as, say, HuTao, then you'll want a combo that will allow you to regenerate stamina instead of consuming it. So what could we do here? Now, the rotation in which I have found I think I like the most involves using her elemental skill as an animation cancel. Because of the low startup and ending time of her elemental skill, you can essentially use it as a slightly longer but not stamina consuming dash. And as it does not consume stamina, it will allow your stamina to continue to regenerate. And so the rotation I've mostly been using with this is to do 4 normal attacks, while animation canceling the 4th with her elemental skill, do another 2 4 normals into a dash, and then finish off with 2 normals into a charge attack. And this results in essentially managing to get back all the stamina in which HuTao consumed, while only dealing 8 to 9% less damage than the stamina consuming 3 hits into a charge attack and dash combo. And once you get good at dash canceling the N4, this combo isn't all that particularly difficult to do, I don't feel. And there are some other possibilities as well, but I found them all to be harder than the one I suggested, while also dealing less damage. One other major thing to note, however, when dash canceling the 4th normal hit or her charge attack is making sure that you're not dashing before the damage actually comes out. Now, for the 4th normal, the damage comes out very quickly, and so you can dash cancel pretty early. You'll just have to get used to the timing of it. The charge attack, however, is a bit of a different story, as the slashing animation will actually come out even if you dash too soon for the damage to actually come out. So just because you see the slashes with the charge attack does not mean that you've actually dealt damage. So in practicing dash canceling the charge attack, you should try to be mindful of that. And with these few rotations wrapped up, we reach the end of the video. If you're using Raiden, what do you think her issues are, if you believe she has any at all? Is it just her element? Is it the damage that she deals? Or something else? How do you feel about how much energy she gives to characters with 80 cost ultimates? Do you think she'd be in a much better spot if she gave more energy to them such that they could actually use their ultimates off cooldown while going mostly damage? Or do you think that she's fine as she is? Do you think that her resolve stacks limit the characters you compare her with, or do the resolve stacks simply not really matter to you? Do let me know your thoughts down below in the comments. Thank you for watching. Look forward to seeing you again next time, and hope you all have a great day.